So Lowe and Patrick Swayze in the middle of the 1980s were probably two of the busiest actors out there. Now, they did Outsiders together. They had done several Brat Pack and what I call half pack movies. But 1986, I knew something was buzzing. I saw some promotion of this. I think it was Time Magazine or even Premiere, having to do with a movie called Youngblood. And a movie like Youngblood sounds like a football movie, but it wasn't. And of all people, a young Keanu Reeves was a co-star in it. And with the Gruber Peters group, you know it was going to be interesting. Now, it made double its investment at the box office, only made $16 million, but only cost $8 to make. Now, Youngblood, in its name in the Philippines, of all things, was called Fight for Love. It was an American sports drama filmed in Canada, co-produced and co-written and directed by Peter Markle, starring Lowe, Patrick Swayze, and a very underrated Cynthia Gibb. Now, I saw this movie at the Temple Theater at Houlton, Maine, in early to mid 1986, and me and my two buddies from NBCC Woodstock, or the Woodstock area, were the only people in the theater, but that didn't diminish our appreciation for the cheese in the movie. The basic plot of it is that Dean Youngblood, played by Lowe, is a talented but yet timid 17-year-old farmhand from rural New York who has dreams of playing in the NHL. Now, his brother had a chance at a junior career, but was injured in one eye and couldn't reach his dreams, so he went back to the farm with him and their father. Now, Dean voices these dreams to his father, who disapproves of it. However, Dean's brother, Kelly, played by the great Jim Youngs, convinces their father to relent. Now, Dean travels to Canada to try out for the fictitious Hamilton Mustangs in the Memorial Cup playoffs, where he demonstrates his offensive skills, but displays a lack of physical toughness. Now, the movie has a lot of junior hockey tropes, the billets, the puck bunnies, the drinking, the aggressivity, the Mike Keenan or Dave King style coaches. Basically, it's not Canadian enough to be a true Canadian hockey movie, but it's more than enough for the American fans to appreciate it. Now, the big character that everybody remembers, even though he wasn't a main actor, was the fictitious Carl Racky, who played the goon, who motivates Youngblood to get better at his game in both sides. Now, in the training camp, he is competing with Youngblood for a spot and engages him in a fight and quickly defeats him. Now, despite this, the Mustangs head coach, a former NHL All-Star, selects Dean for the team. Dean also begins a flirtation and romance with the coach's daughter, Jessie, played by Gibb. Now, the movie itself has all kind of mid-1980 tropes. Gratuitous nudity, politically incorrectness. But to see a still young Patrick Swayze playing hockey, where he claims, the character has scored almost 100 goals, which happens in junior. A young Cynthia Gibb, who was very beautiful in her role, despite there was unnecessary of nudity of her and Lowe, its equal. And a young Keanu Reeves as a very fictitious Quebecois accented goalie, who the accent is like any other accent I've ever heard. But there's a scene in there where he shows Carey Price style moves in practice, has to be seen to believe. Now, Swayze plays his team mentor, David Sutton, but he's eventually injured and deliberately by Racky, who's now with a rival team, because he couldn't he was the last cut before Youngblood went on. Now, when Dean returns home, his brother inspires him to keep playing, and his father teaches him some fighting skills, as does his brother. Now, Dean returns to the squad, ready to confront Racky in the final game of the Memorial Cup playoffs. But if anybody's watching Memorial Cup, especially in the 80s, the rinks were all not all foggy and dark like that. It seemed like, a Junior B or Junior C playoff game. But, it's a piece of kitsch. It works. Now, the 35th anniversary of the movie is this year. When it reached 30 in 2016, there was a lot of interest because a lot of the participants in the movie have gone on to great success in acting and in hockey. We'll get that in a second. Now, the game in the movie ends with a winning penalty shot by Dean with 3 seconds left As time expires, he confronts and defeats Rocky in a fight and is carried off the ice on the shoulders of his teammates. So not Rocky, but still, an okay movie. 2.5 out of 4. Now, the Ed Lauter gives a great performance, of course, as the late Ed Lauter as the coach of the Mustangs. Kind of he's playing all different cards. Don Cherry and Mike Keenan, a little bit of Pat Burns. Now Nestorenko, the longtime NHLer, plays Dean's father, and he was a consultant on the movie as well to help out the players. Now, most of the actors in the movie are well known, and for some reason, Fiona Flanagan, which is a very respected actress who was also a big hit on Lost, plays a billet that's sleeping with her charges in a weird subplot that could have been easily cut out of the movie. It didn't really do anything for me. Now, many of the other team members in the film were actually junior or NCAA hockey players that were brought in, including, get this, Steve Thomas, Peter Zezel, who both had led the NHL careers and had played with Toronto Maple Leafs. Don Biggs, of course, who played a key character in James Richmond. Now, the filming of Youngblood took place in the east end of Toronto in the summer of '84, but of course the movie wasn't released until '86. Now, Ted Reeve Arena was used as a setting for the interior of the Hamilton Mustangs home rink, while Scarborough Arena Gardens was used for the setting of the arena's exterior. Now, St. Michael's College School was also used as well. Now, several of the cast and crew had actual hockey experience and skills, though star Rob Lowe had learned to skate, and both he and Patrick Swayze, a better skater, used doubles for many of their all nice skating scenes. Director and writer Peter Markle was a former minor pro and international player for the States, while cinematographer Mark Irwin, a Canadian, wore skates and a helmet and devised a special rig for shooting hockey scenes on the ice, which is kind of de rigueur in 2021. Now, the film's hockey consultant, Eric Nestorenko, again was a 2-decade NHL veteran who appeared again as Dean's father. Now, Reeves played goalie because he did play backstop in high school, so it wasn't too much of a stretch. Now, George Finn, who played villain Carl Racky, was a former OHL enforcer, and many of the other team members were actual NCAA, again, or junior hockey players. Now, Lowe said he hated learning how to skate. I don't like any sport when you're already exhausted when you're done putting on the equipment. But that said, once I got the equipment on and was out in the ice, I loved that. I loved hitting people, being hit, skating. I loved the exertion and competition, so that was all great. But it's a lot of work putting all of that shit on. Give me a surfboard and let me just paddle in the ocean. Now, there's plot holes galore in this. There's a big scene where they're drinking with a couple of puck buddies, and we all know Dean. I think he's only 17. So what is a 17-year-old drinking at a bar in Canada? Because, as we know, you got to be 18 unless false ID. And like I said, the subplot with the Fiona Flanagan, the excessive nudity, the sexuality. There's one where the Cynthia Gibb character is trying to encourage Rob Lowe to find his better self, while Rob Lowe's character is too busy trying to get a paperback porn book. Typical 1980s, but now. It was only released in the Philippines 6 years after, in July 15, 1992, which made national news in Canada because we still don't know why it was released in the Philippines that later. Now, for the critics, it wasn't a big hit. It gained a mediocre reception, with critics finding the plot derivative. However, it became a popular VHS video rental and cable TV showing. And this is one of the movies where, on VHS, it found a home, because certain movies are shown, Slapshot, Friday Night Lights, for sports people. But this is an older version. I don't think a 16-year-old high school hockey player should watch a Cynthia Gibbs and Rob Lowe's half naked making love where there's no body doubles. Like I said, it's an R movie, and hockey's an R sport. Now, what I want you to remember of this, ladies and gentlemen, the Goober Peters company, which of course John Peters involved with Barbra Streisand, were doing a lot of work with MGM United Artists. This is one of MGM's few hit movies of that era. So it was kind of a last gasp. But for again, a sports movie, 2.5 out of 4. If you've never seen hockey before, but want to watch Patrick Swayze, Ken Reeves, and Rob Lowe and Jim Youngs too. Jim Youngs is a very good actor. This is the movie for you. But for you, if you're old Chicago fans, watching Eric Nestorenko playing a happy and dedicated father with a bad reputation he had within the NHL is quite bizarre. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing with our remote control and screenshots podcast, let us know as a like, comment, and subscribe. And by the way, this movie's almost 2 hours. So, there's a lot of cheese, so if you need your dairy, this is the movie. Thanks for listening. Bye.